So thanks so much for coming in.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to, do you mind if I ask you some questions about the screening forms that you filled out when you came in?
Yeah, sure.
So when you initially came in, you filled out the packet of information. There was one in there specific about substance use.
Right.
And you had indicated that you had used marijuana, so I was going to ask you some questions, if that's okay with you, about your marijuana use.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So on the screening tool, your score was a 5, which indicates moderate substance use issue, if you will.
Okay.
So I just kind of wanted to have some questions about that. So could you tell me a little bit about how often or how you're using marijuana?
Yeah. So like if I have like a long day at work.
Okay.
Usually I'm pretty. Like I work at a cafe, it gets pretty busy.
Sure.
And then I kind of just want to cool down at the end of a shift, or sometimes like before I go to sleep at night, I have like a lot of thoughts going through my head, and it's kind of hard to quiet those. So sometimes I'll like smoke a bit before bed.
Sure.
I'm not like baked all the time or anything.
Sure.
It's,
I got you.
Yeah, it's kind of just something I use to relax, come down,
So it sounds like you use it to kind of, help you cope with things, deal with some stress.
Definitely.
Which you had indicated that stress was kind of one of the main things that was bringing you in here, some anxiety, some depression. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. How much and how often? You said is it daily or?
Smoking?
Yeah.
Yeah, daily.
Okay. Yeah.
I would say maybe once or twice a day.
Once or twice a day.
Yeah.
Mostly smoking, or is there any other type of
mostly smoking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And about how much approximately would you say that you're using daily?
Yeah. I use like a vape pen.
Okay.
And just I guess enough to feel.
Sure.
Yeah.
Just enough to get the ball rolling.
Yeah.
I got you.
Exactly.
Okay. Thank you so much for being open and honest with me about this. I think this will really help kind of paint the picture of where we're trying to go with our treatment. Do you mind if I share some information with you about marijuana and how it could actually, impact your overall health?
Okay.
So marijuana is one of these strange drugs that's both a central nervous system depressant and stimulant. So it has an ability to actually increase your heart rate, which will actually increase your feelings of anxiety. But it's also a depressant. It slows you down cognitively, which is probably
that's what I like about it.
which is the part about it that you like, that it relaxes you. But when that wears off, the anxiety actually kicks up even further. It also has a tendency to kind of, and maybe you've noticed this as well, that it has a tendency to kind of pump the brakes on ambition, right? Like you don't really get as much done, which is usually a big factor for a lot of people in depression. They don't feel like they're getting things done. They're unable to complete tasks. Does this sound like some stuff that you're going through?
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, based off of that information, do you think it's something that you'd be willing to consider reducing?
I don't know. I definitely hear what you're saying. For me, I feel like if I don't figure out a way to quiet the racing thoughts in my head, I don't really know how to get stuff done, or it's just hard to focus on anything.
Sure.
So I do find it helpful for just living my life.
Okay. So it's helpful to kind of help you deal with some of these things that are going on in your life, the stressors. It's a big part of your routine. So maybe if we set some goals and some expectations as part of our treatment to kind of build in other maybe healthier, more adaptive coping skills, that it would be something that you could see yourself using less in the future?
Yeah, I guess so.
So what we could do is look at kind of reducing the amount of marijuana use while we're also putting in some of these other skills in place to see if we can kind of find a little bit more of a healthy balance in terms of your use.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think for me, cutting out entirely, I think I would just end up either smoking a lot one night.
Sure.
to kind of make up for it, or kind of, going crazy.
No, I appreciate that, and I appreciate your honesty, and I think that's, that gives me a lot of information to know where you're at. So it sounds like total abstinence at this point, abstaining from all use, not necessarily in the cards, but you would be willing to consider making some changes around reducing the amount of use based on, what we've talked about so far.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, all right. If you had to, give me a number on how ready you were to make a change, 0 being not at all, 10 being like absolutely ready right now, like where would you put that number?
Maybe like 5.
Okay, 5. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Why a 5 and not like a 4 or a lower number or something?
I mean, well, I came into therapy because I want to work on myself, and I don't like the feelings of anxiety and depression that I'm suffering from. So I'm open to exploring other coping skills, but at the same time, it is a coping skill I've been relying on for a while.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, I think that's great. I think it's really brave of you to be able to even come in here and ask, for help or to try and get some extra knowledge to kind of better yourself, which I think is a huge first step. And congratulations to you.
Yeah. Thanks.
So it sounds like there are some things that you've liked about marijuana use in the past. Is there anything about marijuana that you don't like?
Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes I already have a tendency to just be lethargic, and I don't have a lot of motivation to get a lot done, and that like lethargy makes me feel bad, and it's this cycle, and I understand that marijuana isn't helping that.
Sure. So it's actually, might be contributing to making some of the other depression or lack of motivation things a little bit greater than they need to be.
Yeah.
So it sounds like in some ways it's a solution, and in some ways it's a problem.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So just to kind of summarize what we've talked about here today, you initially came in for some feelings around anxiety and depression. That you're pretty strong in considering you're a 5 and considering that you'd be willing to cut down your use. Can you give me like what an approximation of what cutting down would look like if you're smoking once or twice a day, every day? What would be a good goal range for you to set, just so that we have like an idea, something to shoot for?
Right. Maybe only on weekends.
Okay. So only on weekends. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
I think Friday, Saturday.
Okay. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
And about how much during the weekend? Again, like how many times, if you will?
I guess maybe just once a day.
Okay, so once a day. So from once or twice a day, 7 days a week, to once a day, 3 days a week. That's great. That seems like a really great. Does that seem reasonable?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
That seems attainable.
Yeah.
It's not stopping all at once.
Totally.
Okay, great. Any other questions for me? Is there anything that we missed?
I don't think so. I think that makes sense to me. All
right.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks so much.
Yeah. Thanks.